Welcome to Concordia International University again. Today we're going to talk about academic writing. It sounds scary, isn't it? It's not. Once when you know what you should be taking care of, once when you know the methods, and once when you actually read stuff written in academic way, you can do it. Everybody else is doing it, why shouldn't you? Okay, let's look at some of the rules, some of the things we should take care of while writing academically. Let me share my screen with you and let's see what's going on. Okay, here it is, academic writing. And we have to think about what is important. Professionalism. What is professionalism? This is basically a step, many different steps in academic way to prepare you for professional life. Academic writing requires professional attitude. It's not like writing a letter or high school essay. When you think how professionalism works, let's have a look at the following. And also let's look at the description. Professionalism, the competence or skill expected of a professional. No wonder you will be a professional. And one of the most necessary and serious ways to go there goes through academic writing. Let's continue. Okay. First of all, almost in every writing style, the main thing is knowing your audience. In other words, who are you writing for? Well, in academic writing, you mostly write to peers, professors, or people who are expert in their fields. Now, when you compare with a letter to your friend, or with a complaint letter to the city, or with a job application letter, cover letter, you know that they are all written to a certain person, and it should be written like this. How would an employer read your cover letter to hire you? Here, how would an academic scholar read and evaluate your professionalism, your academic value? That's why it's important to know who you're writing for, and you address it accordingly. Let's continue. Okay, so before you do anything, research, research, research. Without having a thorough research about the topic or reading books and articles, your paper would only be a brief opinion paper, which is not bad, but opinion papers are not academic papers. In order to start thinking about what to write, you have to choose a topic and start reading about it. Maybe most of us have already written some essays in high school, like, should smoking be banned everywhere, public and not public places in the entire country? Or should everybody wear really masks? I think yes. So this is an opinion essay. You can discuss the pluses and minuses and just offer your opinion. To whom? To your high school teacher. Or maybe career course teacher. Not even that. Not even that. Generally high school teacher, middle school teacher. Some students start very early. Or, I was almost forgetting, IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC. They want your opinion written in almost an academic way, but academic writing is even more serious than that. Because in IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, whatever, BEC, Business English Certificate test, Cambridge tests in general, you are not expected to refer to somebody, a scientist, a scholar, who wrote about the topic before. You don't need to refer to someone. You don't have to cite someone. You only cite yourself, basically. It's your own writing in academic English. But academic English is not academic writing. Academic English is, for example, when you go to an IELTS test and you have a speaking test, and when they ask you a question, they say, for example, describe your family. In a normal circumstance, you would maybe say, well, I have one father, one mother, like everybody else, and two sisters. They are younger than me. It's fantastic English. It's all right. A native speaker would answer like that. But in IELTS, they want you to talk with complicated sentences. That's why I said this is academic English, but not academic writing or academic uh, paper. So you should maybe say, well, I'm just exaggerating, okay? Kuatang, kuatang, exaggerating. I can maybe say then, well, my family consists of 4 people, 2 of which, or 2 of whom, in that case, better, are my sisters, one of whom studies medicine. I exaggerate, this is not. But I mean, you can maybe say, my family consists of 4 people. I have 2 sisters, one of whom is studying medicine, and my mother is working at home as well as outside, and my father is, as usual, maybe usual in your culture, the homemaker. No, breadwinner. Homemaker is the mother. Well, it's changing in the Western world. Anyway, so they want to have long sentences. Here, they don't necessarily are sufficing with your long sentences. Sure, you have to do that here too. Again, you use academic English like any other proficiency test, but it's different. You have to research. It's not your opinion. Okay, let's continue. Okay, what's coming now? Essential aspects of academic writing. Now, when we actually cover this presentation, you will probably understand the differences between a TOEIC essay or TOEFL essay and academic writing for your academic studies. So, a clear and distinct intro, body, conclusion. You know that already from all the other essays. A major point that readers should absorb. That can also be essay like evidence that backs up the point. Evidence. Let's talk about this evidence a little bit. Well, in an essay also, when you say smoking, or in a debate, when you say smoking should be banned in all public places, you can also show some essays, like when secondhand smoking, we call that, like passive smoking from somebody, how it can affect other people. Here, you need published evidence. I repeat, published evidence, not necessarily your observation or what your mother said. Yeah, it's also evidence, but it's good for essay only, not for academic writing. Okay, evidence that backs up the point. Impersonal writing. Aha, this is one of the most important difference between your essay and your academic writing. Impersonal. What does it mean? First of all, let's go a little bit academic in that term. Impersonal means not personal relationship. When you talk to your cashier in the store, yeah, you say, thank you very much, or how much does this cost, or can I have the receipt? In that situation, you don't think who the cashier is. You are basically talking to a position. When a person talks to a position, it is impersonal, which means not personal, basically. Whereas when you talk to your mother, to your boss, to your husband, to your professor, it is more personal. So impersonal because you don't know the person who's going to read it. You're just writing to an academic world. You send it out. You send your writing out to the scholarship, basically. Okay, let's continue. And Time New Roman font since size 12 and double paste. Well, this is what Western world generally uses. Font is very important. And if any Latin American student watches us or is a part of Concordia International University, we don't decorate our papers. So because whatever you write in a university setting, even in employment setting in Western world, we don't decorate. We attract the attention only and only to what is written without distracting the reader. And it is kind of found out that Times Roman font is probably one of the most reader friendly or easily read fonts. That can be only the difference. I didn't research that. I should. I should have. Everything should be researched. Okay. Why should we use Time Roman? This is an academic paper topic, but it has to be researched. Okay. Let's go further. What you should keep in mind. Now, you have to stay away from colloquialisms. What is that? Relaxed English, everyday English, or slang. Do not use contractions, and that's why I didn't write don't. Yeah, do not. Not I'm. You don't use I anyway. Not he's. He is. Not we're. We are. Write factual, not emotional. Read a lot of academic examples and sample writings. Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually very important. Now, I can actually share something with you, a little bit secret of mine. I am definitely not an academic writer. Basically, so I thought I wasn't. I thought I wasn't because I was not interested in academic writing. I was a creative writer. I wrote stories, articles, songs, but I never thought about that. I've never thought about that I would be one day writing academically. And you know how I managed that? When I was doing my master's in UBC here in Vancouver, Canada, one of the most sophisticated universities. I was scared. I was scared to death, for God's sakes, but you don't have to. I found out that the more you read samples, the more you read academic texts written by scholars, the more you get used to it. Our brain kind of unwillingly records everything. You might not remember it, but it comes out when you are writing. I can remember when I was writing my papers, sometimes I thought, oh my God, I put my hands out and said, did I write this? Where do I know this phrase from? Probably this phrase or the word or the usage of language stayed somewhere in my brain when I was reading material. That's how it happens. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, let's continue. So after reading a lot of academic examples and sample writings, you have to check your grammar carefully. Ladies and gentlemen, grammar is not only important in your academic writing. I have bad news for you. Grammar is important in whatever language you are speaking. Korean grammar, Chinese grammar, Japanese grammar, Spanish grammar, German grammar, whatever. Because grammar shows level of intellect, level of study, level of degree, level of the capacity of your mind. When somebody comes to find a job and writes a cover letter, forget about academic writing, cover letter to apply for a job with tons of mistakes in it, he's not going to get it because the potential employer might think he or she is not educated well. So please, especially in academia, they are like very picky, like with a magnet or whatever, what is it called, like magnifier. With a magnifier, they are looking at your mistakes. Especially pay attention, second language speakers, pay attention to articles. Articles and prepositions are basically ESL1, very easy, but they hit you when you get advanced. Because especially in Japanese, Korean, Turkish, my first language, we are Altaic languages, we don't have articles. And those languages who don't have articles or who use articles or prepositions at the end of the word instead of to, for, they make a mistake very easily when they start academically thinking and writing. Because when you're academically thinking and writing, you are not thinking of grammar. You think about the content. So please proofread. Please pay attention. Okay, let's look at the presentation. That's going to probably say the similar thing for you. Okay, first of all, how do you start? Okay, now what we have done, we researched the topic, we read a lot, we now know what we are going to write about. So before you start, you should make a list of topics, subtopics you will write about. Actually, if you're studying with us, which we hope, Concordia International University, when you look at the sample academic writings, you will see some table of contents like we showed here as a little icon here. So you can maybe have a bit of a look at it and get inspired to make a plan, to make an outline. It helps you to organize your paper, it says, especially if you put it as contents like here. At the very beginning, it also helps the reader, your professors, your co-scholars. Okay, and let's look at this one here. Analyzing research material critically. Okay, so you know what you had to do. You basically found a topic. You read enough about it. You now know the style of academic writing a little bit because you read a lot of material, we hope. And you planned to write. And now you have here your material. Here you have your computer. Here you have your outline. So in order to start mentioning what is out there, what is written in academic world, you have to critically analyze them. Sometimes students are asking, what is critical thinking or critically analyzing? Because, I mean, you're right to ask that because we are mainly not used to do that in our high schools or in our other kind of colleges, because in our countries, especially Asian countries, because we didn't learn to think critically. We learned to learn. Yes, we learned to learn what teachers were saying, what books were writing was the ultimate truth. In academia, in social science especially, it's not like that. So, and if you introduce your ideas, if you think that there is something wrong, or you don't think the same way, not wrong, everybody has a different opinion, then please never say, I think, or in my opinion. This is not essay. This is not proficiency test essay. Keep the focus on the subject of your analysis, not on yourself. Identifying your opinions weakens them, you know, because, very easy. When I tell you there that I think tomorrow is going to rain, you might think, this is Leila's opinion. Maybe it will, maybe it will not. But when I say the barometer shows this, the Weather Channel explained that, tomorrow we are expecting a huge rain. This is no longer my opinion. It's a fact. And that is more believable, credible, in good words. So that's why be factual. And how do you do critically after you built your opinion, or before even you built your opinion? You can ask yourself, is there a controversy in the passage you read? Controversy, which means maybe, maybe not issue. What is the overall value of the passage? What are its strengths and weaknesses? Yes, like SWOT. You have to analyze everything with strengths and weaknesses. Support your thesis with detailed evidence from the text examined. So if you want to agree with the text, then use evidence. Always evidence. And then, now we are coming to what I was saying before. Proofread, proofread, proofread. Read your paper many times before submitting. Correct the colloquial parts if you use them, and replace them with more academic phrases. Okay, here again. How am I going to find it? Professor Google helps you. Google Scholar. Ordinarius Professor Google. That is also even a help. When you read even an abstract, even if you cannot get into the actual article in given referred papers or suggestions, even if you just look at the first part of a very nice academic writing, especially in Google Scholar, you can maybe pick some words For example, in the light of, drawing on. These are the things I learned myself. In the light of means that thing explained it. In the light of the fact that blah, in the light of Mr. Milson's research. So that research enlightened, gave clarity, gave understanding to the topic. You will see these phrases one by one when you read enough academic stuff. Okay, what else is there? Let's see. Yeah, proofreading here. And then cite carefully. Now we are coming to the gist. Not gist, but to the very important point, because that's a big problem sometimes. Last but not least, that's an interesting term, by the way, citing. Make sure you follow Harvard citing guidelines and mention everything you took from somewhere at the end in references. Well, recently there was a problem. One of my students asked me, actually, can I steal from myself? Yes. For example, you wrote an article, but it is published somewhere. You're a scholar now. Yeah? You're a big scholar very soon. Then you publish your article, but you like the paragraph you wrote there. You wrote, nobody else. And in another work, you use it. You know what? You can't. Because in academic ethics, you can only submit one work one time. So even if you want to use your own sentences and wording, paraphrase it, change it. Yeah? And Harvard is actually showing you everything, how you should be citing and doing the references. So don't worry. And again, don't worry. Let's finish this one first. A final reminder, academic writing checklist. Follow requirements outlined by teacher or journal or by our university. Use professional and respectful tone. That comes from reading. Ensure language is appropriate for audience. Academic papers have almost similar audiences, as we said. Professors, scholars, scientists. State opinion argument clearly at beginning of document without saying I, though. Yeah. Edit for grammar and spelling errors. Use clean and conventional format, reader-friendly. Cite all information according to specified style guide, which is Harvard in our case. And you know, to inspire you, I did the same thing. This was a presentation, and part of those information was actually taken from those websites. And this is my references. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it's your turn. I hope I was able to give a bit of an inspiration and information to write academically and to start your writings. But in Concordia International University, you are never alone. You can watch this, but we are always behind your shoulder, not to control, not to micromanage, to help whenever you need it. See you in another session. Thank you for watching.